And welcome to Gear Time Live. Now this is jumping around. This is crazy. It ended it for me. Did you see that? It transitioned it before I even told it to. Maybe it's the new app, but today's Gear Time Live is brought to you by Aaron King and Drew Armstrong, as Brendon is out sick. He has the plague, and so he'll get through it.
And we're glad he's not here. but he's manning the question and answers online there, and so if you see Photog Adventures, that's Brendon this week, and we're glad he's not with us because we don't want to get the plague. We've got a big week this next week.
So what it looks like is Brendon's helping us out behind the scenes and setting this up. And so if you guys are not seeing anything, or if you're in the right place, what you're seeing is tripods, tripods, tripods. He's edited an event, but we don't have it because we're going live from here. And so now it's called Tripods, Tripods, Tripods.
Which is last week.
That's last week's information. And hey, there's Jeff Anderson. What's up, Jeff? So now people who have joined us have seen that the live went live, but there's another stream that's set for an event that is what is today. So Brendon, if you can behind the scenes edit this stuff, man, go ahead and fix that for us. Unfortunately, because of this device right here, going live is the best way to do it. It doesn't go to a stream event unless we set that up in advance, and we didn't know that Brendon switched it up to a stream event. So sorry about the naming, guys. We're talking winter gear, gloves, coats, boots. What else?
Well, really what we're going to do, because honestly we have enough to talk about that we're going to save water gear for shooting in the water or around surf and stuff like that, waders, wetsuits, all that kind of stuff for a different episode. We're also going to talk about shells, soft shells versus hard shells, and we'll get into the edge of that with some layering jackets today. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about boots and gloves, and we're going to talk about layers. We're going to talk base layers.
Okay, yeah, right on.
Base layers. So we're going to talk about the difference between wool and synthetic, and different types of synthetic, and what the pros and cons of those are, and we can have some show and tell and show you some of the differences and why you would consider one versus the other. And I think you're going to really appreciate the gloves end of this. Obviously, one of the things that I love doing is doing aerial photography. And with aerial photography, with the drones, you can't let go of the controller to put your hands in your pockets. Right? I mean, it's like it's flying. You need to run it for 20 minutes at a time.
So
it doesn't matter.
You can't warm up mid-flight. You can't sit there and just
Exactly.
hang out and watch. You have to keep it out there. So what do you use?
Well, what I always used to use until I got into aerial photography is I just use hand warmers and a regular set of gloves, and that was good.
Right.
And then you take it out and adjust the settings on the camera and put your hands back in your pockets or whatever. But I was like, I need a better solution than that. And so last year I went on a search for shooting gloves. And these are 3 different pairs of gloves that I've got. The first pair are called Aquatech gloves. And they have kind of a layer in here. Here, you try that on. Show you, see what that does? Is what this does, obviously, since we don't have everybody here today, we're not going to have the up-close camera like we sometimes do.
Man, unfortunately, sorry about that, guys. I'm juggling enough already.
So see that? So now look what that does. This has
do
little
like that.
neoprene things, so you can actually get your thumb out right there, and there's a layer.
Your thumb too?
Yeah, there's a layer inside there. See that? So with these Aquatech gloves, and there's a couple of different varieties of them, the other thing you can do is you can actually tighten this up, the drawstring around your wrist.
If I had a third hand, I could.
Right, so,
wow.
So that comes up, and you can go like this. Now, I don't like these ones as well. I mean, I do. They're good. I think they'll work, and it gives you, some dexterity still. So when I'm doing the touch screen on the control, or if I'm, need to manually adjust the dials or buttons or knobs, that works. and I like those.
And it's got the
But not as
ability to
much.
pick up a quarter really well with my finger pad, but I don't feel like I have as much mobility as I have had in other gloves that flip over and give me some fingers.
Well, let me show you. I mean, I've got a set, and I didn't bring them, ones where you actually take the whole top of a mitten off.
Oh yeah.
And then all your fingers show. But I didn't bring those ones.
Gloves are like a nice woven material.
Yep, I've got those ones. I didn't bring those because those aren't specific to shooting, but try these. I like these ones even better.
Okay, the mobility is back in these. I feel
Yep.
the strength of using all my fingers. I don't feel like I'm fighting some cosmonaut glove, you know?
Now these are cool because these are for if it's not really freaking cold, I like these ones the best. And these ones are called Free Hands is the brand.
I like the magnet right here.
And they have a magnet. And the magnet is really cool because it keeps the tip of the glove out of the way and you can actually really have access to your fingers. And I love that. The problem with these, with drones specifically, is these little magnets are freaking strong.
Ooh, so?
And they will mess your compass up. And so remember that when you're first setting your drone up, don't have your gloves close to you.
So the compass in the drone will actually react to this and change its bearing on where north is.
Yeah, and and you never fly because it says that you have a compass error. So it says don't take off. You got a compass error, and then you have to reset it.
Gotcha.
Now I was watching Tony from Northrop Photography, and he says that with his drone, a third of the time he has a compass error when he's trying to fly.
A third of the time.
And I'm going, what? I never have a compass error. And I'm like, I wonder if he, not that he's wearing gloves with magnets in them, but I wonder if he has a Apple Watch band with a magnet on it.
The whole band practically is magnetic too,
Well, this one, my old Apple Watch band it was the one that's segmented, that's leather, and it has a magnet that holds it shut. And if I was wearing that, that would affect setting the compass, calibrating the compass. So these will affect your compass calibration, but I love the gloves. They
could have been sabotaging it the whole time.
They're relatively lightweight. I mean, these are not for freaking crazy cold days.
It's going to block the wind, and how does it feel for rain? Because I can feel that it feels like water could get through this, but is it resistant?
It's not as waterproof, but we're going to talk about waterproofing. These Aquatech gloves are much more waterproof.
Yeah, they felt that way.
But
sure.
I mean, they have that little knobby stuff on the palm that feels like my grandma's gardening gloves. I don't like these ones as much. The ones I really, really like.
How's the camera looking from there? Is it too close? Enough light on these? It's hard to show them off a little bit. Here's where the finger pad comes all the way off, and you got most of your knuckle visible.
Why don't you swing our light around on those?
Yeah, let's see if I can get some real good light on this.
There you go.
How's that look? I can't tell, guys, but hopefully this is giving you a little closer up.
Pull it a little further away.
Aquatech right here. It's the actual drawstring that tightened up on your wrist, and then these guys have nothing to tighten up on your wrist, but they have more mobility because the cloth feels good, and then the magnets are pretty sweet. You can see the knobs. They're pretty big and serious magnets, both on the thumb and on the forefinger.
On the Free Hands ones, yeah.
On the Free Hand brand?
Free Hand.
Oh, okay. It's like the French brand, that one French company. Do you know the one I'm thinking of? There's a glove that's been out there for photographers by a French named company.
Oh yeah, I that's the one. I've never used that one, but those are a little bit more expensive. They're more expensive than either of these two brands.
Oh, good. What are the costs we're looking at?
These ones I got at the end of like in the late spring last year, and they were on sale, and they were like $25 for a pair.
So going into summer sales, you got a pretty good option.
These ones were probably $30, $35, not too expensive.
Yeah, the other ones I'm thinking like $80.
Yeah, they're like $80. But that's cheap compared to what I got next.
Oh, serious?
What I've got next
oh my gosh.
is these are called Heat 3 gloves. And these ones are freaking nuts. So they have they have 3 different sets of inner glove liners. Here, I'll get you this one. Okay, so these inner glove liners on these ones, they have these right here you can see on the pads, that's conductive.
Really
and so,
is?
Yeah, and it actually, we don't want to touch that.
Let's change the stream.
So that's conductive enough that it works. Now, sometimes I don't have these ones in there, and I have another set that are work ones that are leather. So they actually have a leather one that goes inside here. Yeah. And so these are merino wool, and they actually have a little spot right here where there's a pocket for a hand warmer. So you can put a hand warmer in the back of the actual merino wool liner.
Now that pocket looks only big enough for one if you cut them in half. You know that separation?
No, well, I mean, yeah, it's fine.
In.
I've got some here, as a matter of fact, somewhere.
I have some in that bag if you want to show them how they fit in there, because it looks like it barely fits. In that box, if you lift up the case at all, you'll see them right away, the orange package.
Okay.
These are looking very, very nice. I like the way that this is the option for some cold weather, and then you've got the really expensive mitten that goes on top of that. These are perfectly mobile. I'm using my iPhone right now, no problem with this conductive part. I feel like the pads are folded out on the weird part of my fingertip, but...
No, that'll fit.
That does fit?
Yeah, I mean, it's
you could use one if you want to pull it out.
That's all right. That's
so
specifically designed for it. Now, yeah, I buy those in boxes from Costco. And you can get these have gotten so cheap that you don't need to worry about using them too much. If you buy them, you can buy them in big cases from Costco for like $20 for 50 pair or something, 50 sets. So now here's the thing, is that that's just the liner. So this is what keeps you warm when you're pulling your big glove completely off if you need to. This...
Pulling your big glove off and you have this, and you're good.
Okay, here.
Where's the right hand?
There you go. Put that one on.
Well, what's with all the zippers?
Okay, this zipper is for another one of these, and it goes back here. So now you have one on the back of the glove, and you've got one up on your fingers.
Yeah, I'm not cold.
Yeah, you're not cold. Then what you can do is you pull this back like that, and now you have access there, and this has a magnet.
Oh, another
just like
magnet.
The other one. Again, remember not to reset the compass on your thing, and then you.
Oh, nice.
That one has one.
Of that.
And now these are, I mean, the story is that these are used in Sweden or something like that by the military for shooting. And so that's the idea behind having the access. But they have different sets of inner liners that you can use, but that's freaking awesome. You can also, you can use...
This is intense. I mean, why does it have so many things dangling off of it?
Well, this is the cuff to where you put this cuff up on you, so when you pop your gloves off, they don't sit on the ground. That's the idea. So you can take that off and just have it hanging like this.
And then it doesn't fall on the ground and get wet in the snow. Okay, that makes sense.
So that's the idea. And then they have this to keep it all together. I mean, even the liners have a little thing that you can hook this little beaner on to make it so that the whole group stays together, so you don't lose parts of it.
Did you add the beaner, or is that something that came with it too?
Came with it.
So you mentioned in advance that this was going to be a lot more expensive than those.
Yeah.
What are we talking here?
Well, I think the glove itself is like $150.
$150?
Yep, and then the interior liner is about 30 or 40 for each different type of interior liner set. Oh, but they will keep your hands warm. Now, for me, we have a trip scheduled. We're going to Yellowstone in January. Oh, there you go.
I'm going to show with my phone. I'm going to try it. You're going to a trip in Yellowstone in January while I show over these gloves.
And that's the point. And so you take this, you take your hand warmer, you stick it in there, and then you take this one, and you take your other hand warmer and you stick it up in this pocket for the fingers up there, and zip that one in, and then you can take this and roll that back and roll this back. And this has a little bit of Velcro right here to hold that one open. It also has or hold it closed.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so then you've got these pads that are actually conductive enough that you can actually use a screen or whatever. Now, obviously, when you're wearing even these light merino gloves, you're still going to end up with a little lack of dexterity, but you can get any glove. I have a pair of gloves that I've got no fingers on any of them that I use with these sometimes too. If it's not so cold that I don't want to have anything uncovered. Well, as long as we got that one out, let's show these ones.
I was going to
too.
ask you to do the same. Awesome.
Okay, so this one, these are the free hands ones, and you can see they have the little magnets right there too, and they're strong enough. They hold those back, and so you can use those that way. Then these ones are the Aquatech ones, and these have a little barrier right there. You can see that there is, there's nothing there, but then I can slip my finger over that barrier on the inside of the glove, and then I can stick this one out and I can have access to my fingertip while it's inside the glove in my thumb. So this is the Aquatech brand.
And one thing about it is it's a little awkward to fit your finger through there, but it's great that it is, because then it's tightly strung around that finger, so then you're not making any other part of your finger cold. And it really has a noose around it that is keeping the air, draft, cold water all out.
Yeah, and for me, I'm going, geez, it's pretty tight. I wonder if that would restrict your blood flow to your fingertip too, though.
How long have you ever used those?
I don't like them as much as the other ones, so I don't use these much. I actually said, here, Jamie, to my wife, I think you need some of these gloves.
Oh man, guys have been there with their wives, like, here's my hand-me-down.
Yeah, but the truth is I'm going to get her a pair of these before we go to Yellowstone. I've got to get her a pair of these. I got her, and we're going to talk about it at a different time, but I'll show you what kind of parkas we got for Yellowstone.
How much expensive kind of parkas?
Well, the thing is that I would never ever pay retail for what those things cost, because I'm not going to use them intensively enough. But you can get them. I mean, even used, they're $300, but that's a third of the normal price. But I'll bring and do a show and tell with a North Face one and one that I've got one that's from this company right here,
Ooh.
Mountain Hardwear, and she's got one.
Let me see that logo.
That's Mountain Hardwear. So I got a Mountain Hardwear parka that we'll bring and do that one later, and then she got one from North Face, and so we'll kind of go through both of those parkas at a different time. So that's the gloves. We'll move on a little bit to boots.
Boots next?
So we'll talk about boots and shoes.
I'll keep this coat over here if we come back to coats.
Okay. So part of what we got to do is we're going to talk a little bit about waterproofing as we're talking about boots and about jackets. The waterproofing, we're not going to talk about coats because we're not going to have enough time to talk about coats and base layers and boots and everything all at the same time. But boots are important. It's a very important part of what we do as photographers, landscape photographers, right? And so these are different. These are all my different boots. So. And here's the thing. What we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about different things that you can use, whether it's mink oil or snow seal or
mink oil.
Mink oil, yeah, or how to clean these and get them ready for the winter. These boots are Merrells, and I love Merrells. They're lightweight, they're comfortable, they work really well. There's high tech and Merrells have different grades of boots and stuff like that. And you look at this set, and this is a new set that I got. And you look at this set, and it's like, what's the difference between this one and this one? And the difference is that this one's waterproof and this one isn't.
Really?
Yeah. And so when Brendon and I went down to Escalante in August, I'm going to take this set. And the reason I'm going to take it, even though they're not waterproof, is because they breathe better. Okay? Because they don't have the Gore-Tex layer in there. And it's not always Gore-Tex, but most of these boots actually have a membrane in there. You see the difference right there?
Let me swap it over and show it. So the difference with the waterproof.
So these ones say waterproof. That one doesn't say waterproof right there. There's nothing there. So they're basically the same boot, but these are waterproof. Now the waterproof ones have, they have these layers in there where the moisture is supposed to be able to release from the inside, but if you step in a puddle, it's not going to let that water go.
It beads right off.
Well, it's not so much the beading right off. That's a different where you do a waterproof spray to keep the suede and keep everything from there. But there's actually a layer of almost like plastic that's in there, but it's Gore-Tex.
And then it just blocks it from soaking past that layer.
Right. So we can't see it here, but I don't know if you've ever felt Gore-Tex, but Gore-Tex feels almost like a plastic bag, little satiny feeling.
I have.
But we've got Gore-Tex in jackets, we've got Gore-Tex in ski pants, we've got Gore-Tex in, I mean, it's awesome. And a lot of companies, Red Wing, these guys, they have their own version of Gore-Tex that they've developed, and it's supposed to have pores that let the vapor come out, but keep like a big splash or stepping in water from
almost like a lobster trap where it's coming in, the big things are blocked from coming in, but then they like seep
that's
out.
Right.
They evaporate out.
And so these are these are my lightweight ones. I'm going to take these with us when we go on our trip this weekend.
So you'll stand next to Thor's Well in these.
You know what? I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we're going to stand next to Thor's Well in these.
That's what I did.
Okay. So I love Keens and Keen sandals, and I'm wearing Keen sandals right now. And these are waterproof, but they say waterproof on it. Plainly, they don't have a waterproof barrier. But this is made out of there's nothing in here that is going to be hurt by water. So you can walk in these in water all day long. So you wear this, and then we have, and let's see if I can find them.
And here's Mike Keens while he's finding that. These guys have been through the sands of Brendon, the sands of Thor's Well, and they dried immediately while my other stuff did not. Oh yeah, and you gotta bring up those.
And so then what you do is you take these, and these are from NRS, and they're called Boundary socks. And the company is NRS. NRS makes paddles for kayaks, they make wetsuits, they make, which I brought, but we're not going to show this time, I'll show you another time, my exploding fanny pack.
Your life preserver?
Yeah, I have a fanny pack. My wife is worried about me when we're standing on these cliffs or at Thor's Well or whatever, fall in and I'm dead, right? So this is like my last ditch effort. I've got a fanny pack that...
At least I'll be buoyant as I get banged up against these rocks.
Well, getting banged against the rocks is something, but if you at least won't sink after you get knocked out,
we'll find your body later.
Exactly. So we've got those, but these are from a company. It's called NRS here, and they are full neoprene. These, this is neoprene too in here. So, but these are neoprene. These come up to your knees almost. And the thing that's really cool about them is that if you wear kind of a waterproof pant over the top, especially if you have something that'll kinch up at the bottom.
You mean like here where the top part lets in, or down here at the bottom?
Yeah, down here at the bottom. So you have your pants. So these, they have a different kind of. These are inside out right now. So this
you can flip it out.
No, these are perfect because this seals against your leg actually right here. So this part will actually seal against your leg.
Pull on your leg hairs, it's fun.
It is a little, that's not fun, but when you're wearing them, and then you have your, kind of waterproof shell pants on over, if you cinch them up at the ankle, then, I've literally been in water that's nearly up to my waist, and I'm okay.
At Thor's Well, you got shoulder height.
No, that was a splash.
I see what you're saying. You're standing
you can
in
stand
water
in the water, and that's awesome that you can do that. You can do that, and you're not wet.
And you love it in the weather temperatures of early morning sunrise, Milky Way. I had them on with these Keens, and all it was bare feet in here with these. And then I was wandering around the beach, and the water came up to my knees several times, and I had this kind of waterproof pant that goes over it, so the waves would crash against that and come off of it, and it wouldn't soak in too bad. But then beyond that, I was warm and dry, and I felt fantastic. Now this, when you're out there, you feel like your feet are wet, like any wetsuit experience that you've been in. You feel like you're wet, but you're not cold, you're insulated, and I could stand out there for hours without any complaint in the frigid, cold Pacific Ocean on the coast of Oregon.
And that works. Now, these boots and these boots, you can waterproof a little bit. And the stuff, you can either get like Camp Dry from Kiwi.
Okay.
That's a spray. This one, the labels have come off, but this is 303. That's the name of the solution. I actually buy it in gallon sizes. It's costing about $100 a gallon. But you take this and you can take, and this will work with suede, and it'll work with. They warn you not to put it on plastic, and they say that because it is a petroleum solvent that carries the actual chemical that's the 303. So this stuff is great.
Okay.
We'll have a link. But
Now, quickly, did I miss it? Is this a waterproofer or a cleaner?
it's a waterproofer.
Okay.
And it's an industrial waterproofer. People use this on bimini covers for boats. They use it. They use it on awnings. They use it for all kinds of stuff.
$100 a
But
gallon. Oof.
I've used it on, and I put multiple layers of it. I use it, and it's nice because it lets stuff breathe still. But you put it on a coat and you put water on it, and I think we can actually do that here if we wanted to.
Want to show an example of it? Should I go grab something I can get wet?
I don't know what that blue thing is.
The idea that this stuff is so brilliant that it actually is porous and resistant to water is
Actually, here
amazing.
we
I
go.
guess it speaks to the whole energy of a water structure and how it works, that it can be resisted with something, but then air and evaporation can happen through the same membrane.
Okay, let's
so
get that.
what
Let's
should
get
I
the
do?
little camera up.
What are we going to film on?
Do we have a towel actually?
I can grab a towel.
Yeah,
Let me go
let's do
grab
a
a
towel.
towel and you guys hang out here
Okay.
and look at beautiful Drew while you hear me in the background. Because you can still hear me no matter where I go. Hi,
Yay.
I'm still here.
So, and yeah. Anyhow, so what you do is
Now I'm in the bathroom
I
grabbing
spray
a towel.
these boots. I spray my
shower
coats.
towel.
I actually take
So,
and I put like
I'm learning a lot
a
about
big
air
beach
and
towel that I've got out on the floor in my bathroom, and then I hang all my coats on the bathroom rod. And in the fall, I do this pretty much every fall. Put a new big. Here we go.
Don't rub this on your face. This is my shower towel and it is used. So this has experienced Aaron's full body
People
power.
don't want to know that. So if you look at you want to switch that over to
I will. Let me switch it over, and where should I be pointing at directly?
right here.
So you're gonna go
So
put it
if,
on
If you
there.
go like that, you see how that's just beaten up and comes right off there.
Oh yeah.
So it's because these are sprayed. Now these don't have the membrane inside, so it's just keeping the outside from soaking water up. These as well. Look at that. See
So
that?
you have waterproof them with the 303.
Yes. So you have 303 on the outside, but if I sat and stood in a puddle up to here, these are still waterproof because they have the Gore-Tex liner. These ones, eventually, that's not going to work, but this will keep the water from bouncing off. Now, I mean, it'll just let the water bounce off. Now, here's the thing, is that these are my good, and these boots, I got these at Cabela's, but these are Mendel boots made in Germany. And these are freaking awesome hiking boots.
I'm sure they cost you.
They're what my ex-father-in-law bought these for me probably 10 years ago, and I think they were $300. They were my Christmas present from him because he wanted me to go hunting with him. I don't go hunting much anymore, but I do take really good care of my German Mendel boots because I don't want to have to replace them. So what you do with boots like this, it's the same thing. If you look right here, these also say Gore-Tex, so they have a Gore-Tex liner in there. Now, if you hike enough in them, Gore-Tex will break down, and you can break right through it, just like leather will break down.
Yeah, eventually.
But the point is that the leather, the exterior of the boot, is designed to keep that Gore-Tex membrane protected, so you don't tear it, so you don't get dirt all over on it and have the abrasion of it wear through it, that kind of thing. And so you still have to take care of the exterior of your boot because the exterior of your boot takes care of your Gore-Tex membrane.
So this leather outside exterior is basically saying, okay, when water actually gets through this membrane, it's being met by the Gore-Tex.
That's right. So what I want to do is I want to keep as much water out of the leather as I can because that'll protect the membrane inside. And so if you look at these, what they've got is leather. Good boots are made out of leather, and leather gets thirsty, and it will either drink water or it'll drink mink oil or an oil. Mink oil is made out of lanolin. And
mink? Is it not made from
it's
mink?
not really, well, I think it used to be, but it's made out of lanolin and silicone. And so what you're doing is the lanolin lets the silicone go into the leather. And so what you do is every time you come back, now when I come back from a trip, even with these, they're full of burrs and they're full of dirt and stuff. I mean, you take this down to the Red Rock and it was amazing. I took them and banged them and banged them and banged them out. I have a shower that is completely enclosed, so I just take them in the shower and bang them out.
Take that shower pipes.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's all right. And then I wash all the sand down the drain, right? But you have to do that. Now with these, same thing. You take your little brush or a toothbrush and you just get all the dirt off. Now these are ready to go. I don't know that they would absorb anymore, but I either use. So the other thing you can do is you can use saddle soap if you want. Saddle soap will. You can take the saddle soap and you can use a little water with the saddle soap and you can clean the leather with that. And then you use your conditioning oil, or this basically is Kiwi's version of the mink oil. Yeah. Or you use this stuff. And I grew up on this stuff. My dad was a ski patrolman. Oh. And so we grew up on Snow Seal. My brother is a ski patrolman up at Sundance right now. My cousin is the CFO up at Alta. Sweet. And Snow Seal use this on regular old leather gloves, and those ski patrolmen, they just wear regular old leather gloves, just loaded.
Layer gloves or
big? Because they need the dexterity for dealing with the charges and the bombs. And so they take this and you take this and this is a classic. I've grown up with that smell. It smells like a ski shop.
It does smell like a ski shop.
So you can use that. This stuff is it's soft. Now, I've seen people that have gotten hardcore enough that what they're using either wax that people use as pomade that's really stiff on their boots. So they're using hair wax, or even crazier, I've seen people where they've taken and they do waterproofing for their boots, these ski patrol guys, and they go and get a wax seal from a toilet, right? They go to Home Depot.
That's intense.
They get the wax seal off the toilet because that's hard wax when it sets up. It's hard, sticky wax, and they use that to waterproof.
Do they hold the ring and just rub it on their boot?
No, they just melt it down with a heat gun into a little pot, and then they use that and they rub that on there with they heat it up with a heat gun or with a hair dryer or with a fire or flame in a glass jar. And then they just wipe it all over. When I do these, I use a hair dryer because what you're trying to do is you melt this stuff into the pores of the boot so that the pores of the boot won't absorb. The point is you don't want it to absorb water. You want it to absorb this stuff instead.
Yeah, I got you. The leather itself is soaking that in, and it basically has used up its space.
Right, that's exactly it. But that keeps the water coming off the outside of the boot. Now, I'll tell you, I take this, I put this on it, and then I spray it with 303.
You're going to do some serious overkill.
Yeah, but you take this and...
You're going to have to do that again when we're on camera, because I can see it's beating up, but does it just pour right off like anything?
Yeah, it just pours right
you don't
off.
Have to pour it again.
So that's waterproofed. So that's the way we do that. Now, because we're going to Yellowstone, and I have been in Yellowstone snowmobiling before. I've never gone to specifically shoot. So we've got a group going, and we've got a snowcat, and you rent the snowcat.
With you. Awesome.
It's going to be awesome. And but I've been up there where it's been so cold that we're sitting there and the guys are out there and we're peeing icicles. It's super fun, Whee!
You've got a second to go.
Well, if you can give it enough time in the air, your pee will turn into icicle rods in the air before it hits the ground. It's
classy
that
piece of
freaking cold. So I'm a little nervous about taking Jamie to Yellowstone in the winter.
You're not sure you'll be able to perform and show her your icicles?
Yeah, I'm not going to show her that.
Oh, okay.
I'm 48 now. I was 18. No. So what I did is I did a little research. And these boots are boots that probably 10 years ago would have been the cat's meow on Everest.
Really? Everest quality boots.
Yep. And at this point, they are not the cat's meow on Everest. They've moved on. You want a pair of boots for Everest, they're going to cost you $1,000 easy. Right? So if you want that type of mountaineering boots, and these are kind of more like this. The other ones have cloth. They've got a built-in gaiter that comes all the way up to your knee.
That's why it beats them out.
Right, but these are brand new, in the box. I bought these on, and these are a 2-part boot. Okay.
This is Scarpa brand, which just means shoe in Italian.
And the Scarpa is what I use Scarpa ski boots. Because they work for, I have bindings that will allow my heel to come loose, and they're not quite telemarking, but it's pretty close.
These are intense to think about hiking in them on Everest when you have zero mobility with your foot. You're just putting a clump down. Boom, boom, boom.
So
yeah, let's show that up close.
That's this kind of boot. So this is a 2-piece. This just has a plastic shell, and then it has your interior shell. And then you can get different ones like this. You can get one of these that is specifically heat treated and fit to your foot. Now for me, I'm not planning on hiking a long ways in these, but I'm planning on standing there a long time in them. And so I want something that's really warm.
And you do by your tripod constantly stand. And if you're going to Yellowstone, you're doing wildlife, and so you're going to be standing and waiting. And
standing and waiting a lot.
Scouting areas, oh man.
So these Aaron, this set of boots I watched for a while. I bought them brand new on eBay for about $120.
Yeah, I can see why you want to hike in these. These are pretty serious lifting.
Yeah, but look at this. Feel this compared to that.
Okay, this is pretty close to it. This is still lighter than this, but just barely. So you're
and
those strong ankles.
Those ones,
calves.
These ones have a lot more flexibility. These are great for hiking in snow because the snow will give. Right? Okay. So the ground doesn't give, so the boot needs to bend.
So you need more bend, but if the snow's giving, you don't care that
you're
it's not flexing.
Yeah, you don't care if these feel like ski boots where they go clunk, 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 because it doesn't matter. These are designed.
Interesting, I didn't think
These
about
are
that.
designed to carry a set of crampons on the bottom, ice
that
crampons.
That ridge
and
right
stuff
here
like
between
that.
the sole is the snap-on crampons. Okay.
Yep, and that's what they're for. Is these are for snow. Like these are for real snow. Now I've got gaiters and stuff. I didn't bring those, but that's the boots. You can move all the way from sandals. You can move from there's a lot of trail running shoes that are great in the Southwest in the summer. I like the lightweight boots. I like this toe protection that they give. I like the Keens because they protect your toes as well. If anybody's kicked a cactus before, you know that having, even if it's hot outside, having some protection on your feet, especially if you're wandering around doing Milky Way photography at night and you can't see what you're kicking, boots are better than sandals. But the sandals, at least with sandals, we can protect. The Keens, that's why I like them versus when in the 90s, I wore Tevas all the time and stuff like that. But
the open toe.
Tevas have an open toe, and I don't want to kick something, so I want something that's cool, but I want to be able to have my toe protected.
Yeah, that's a good point, because even in the ocean, I'm sitting there, I don't see every rock I'm coming up against, and I didn't care.
Right.
Because I had protection.
Right. That's the whole point behind Keens. That's what Keens are why they're better than some of these other ones.
Yeah.
So, okay, next thing we're going to talk about is base layers.
Base layers. Now this will be the last topic of today's Gear Time, or is there something else on schedule?
That's pretty much it.
Sweet. So base layers. If you guys are getting into Milky Way photography, well, it won't be Milky Way, but any photography in the winter, you're going to need to know your base layers and how to handle layers, because they say cotton will kill. Cotton can kill. So you got to be smart in what you're working with.
And that's totally true. As a matter of fact, I normally wear cotton underwear. But I have a bunch of merino wool boxers that I wear when I'm outdoors and I'm hiking and stuff like that. And I like the merino wool better than... we'll go through that with these.
You have merino wool here? Because I hear about it a lot. I want to feel it.
Yep,
of course, this is your merino wool underwear? I don't know if I want to feel it. Maybe I'll just look at it.
So I do. I got to duck down and grab...
Well, okay, duck down. Go ahead. So guys, if you are aware of our podcast, I want to tell you real quick that recently we have started treating our patrons really well with an extra episode every week. And if you've noticed it, some of you on here, I know that you're patrons, and I have a friend on here who's a $2 patron. And we've just told those $2 patrons, sorry, the podcast that comes out on Monday is for $5 or more patrons. So if you go to patreon.com/PhotoGAdventures, you can check it out and become one of the founders of Photog Adventures, and you can get access to extra things. You can get a hat, you can get a t-shirt that's coming out in December, or you can go ahead, oh yeah, you got your hat and DJI stick on there, awesome. And you can also get access to these podcasts. So if you've enjoyed the Wednesday podcast, we have promised a Monday episode every week. So every odd numbered episode will be an interview episode, Monday, patron only, so check it out. Go to patreon.com/PhotoGAdventures.
This last one, I caught it, and I am a Patreon myself.
So am I.
And I caught it with Wayne Pinkston.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, it was fantastic.
Wasn't he great?
It was really good.
He was very generous in sharing his techniques. It was like if he were to die tomorrow, he shared them out now. We know what to do to look like Wayne Pinkston's photography.
Really good stuff. Some of his stuff is so fantasy and whimsical that he did this year, which is really different. I don't know if I'd really get into that, but it was really cool to see. So, okay, so what I've got
Piles
here,
of black, lots of black.
Yeah, mostly black. But I've got different stuff in there. There's some advantages to synthetics, and there are some advantages to actually going with merino wool. By the way, that's merino wool.
And these are underwear, or
yeah, these are long johns.
I will touch it on the seams.
Shut up. They're all clean, ready for us to go. And these are like I did not bring my merino wool boxers, but I have merino wool boxers that I'll wear as well underneath whatever base layer I've got. But the merino wool is, generally speaking, not quite as durable. It's not going to last you as long as
it's great for breathing, great for drying, but it actually wears out specifically more than other wool.
If you use like these are going to last me 10 years or so easy. These ones I got probably a year and a half ago, and this is a mid-weight from Smart Wool. Okay, and so you can feel how those. Feel it's actually, you go, oh, it's wool, but it's not scratchy.
No, it's
soft.
not like you'd expect. And it's great with the long sleeves. I love that because any other layer you're wearing, this breathes, this is moving around. There's no chafing, no no discomfort. It's just nice. I like having long sleeve shirts when I'm hiking.
Right.
Because you're constantly doing this and you just need a sweatband for your head, and it's awesome to have a long sleeve shirt.
And this one is one that I've got. So this is, I think, from Mountain Hardwear, and this is merino wool as well. So it's just a t-shirt. You can feel that it's about the same. It's probably a little bit lighter than this one. This is a lightweight. This is a medium weight.
Comes across as more of a cotton poly shirt, doesn't it?
It feels like it, but that's wool.
That's wool. That's light.
So merino wool is mostly. It's interesting. My wife and I went to Scotland and Ireland this summer, and they literally are using wool to insulate houses. They're trying to figure out what to do because they raise so much mutton because people eat it over there a lot that they have an overabundance of wool. But the wool, the kind of sheep that grows a merino wool versus the kind of sheep that you eat, the wool from those is the hard, scratchy stuff. And they don't know what to do with the wool. And this stuff,
hard, scratchy wool there from the edible sheep.
Right. These kind of sheep are more like raised in New Zealand more often. This kind of hybrid. I mean, sheep got to New Zealand because Scots moved to New Zealand 180 years ago, and they took sheep with them. But
it turned out that the sheep that they had with them turned into different nice wool.
I don't know why they're.
Environment.
I don't think it's. I don't know what did it, but I know that it's a different kind of sheep a little bit. But obviously, wool is made out of a hair. It is a hair, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so
Makes sense.
the thing that's kind of cool about what wool does is it has each thread has an outside that is a little harder, and then it has an inside. And so what happens is merino wool can soak up 1/3 of its weight in water and still be warm. It'll still insulate.
Oh, wow.
And
pour
so
water on it now.
Well, You can't. I mean, it's not going to work that way. But when they do tests, they'll use a steamer and a scale.
Okay.
And so you just pump it full of steam to get that water weight in there, and then see if it still feels like it's wet. And it doesn't feel wet even with 1/3 of its weight absorbed in water. The thing that's nice about it, I mean, the thing that's not nice about it relative to these synthetics is the synthetics. And this is a Marmot synthetic top. This is kind of a midweight,
like
maybe a heavyweight
almost.
Well, it's a base layer, but it's from Marmot, and so this is a
made from Marmot too, right? Oh no.
But you feel it's a little lighter weight for one.
It has a bit of a mesh look to it. Does it have
that
a mesh
one does?
feel?
But I've got some that are. I mean, I think this one is
stretchy pants.
That one is also. That's a top. That's a base layer. And this one...
This is so much heavier compared to this guy.
But they're both... Okay, so I think this is polyester and... let's see.
So it's mix, huh? And this one might be 100%. 100% polyester.
Yeah, and this is... I think both of those are polyester. Now, this one is from Paradox, and this is one that's a merino blend, and it's probably 50-50 or 40-60... I wonder if the label even says.
Poly and what?
Poly and merino wool.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, this has dry release. One of the other reasons that merino wool works so well is merino wool, you could wear the same base layer for a week and have BO all over it and everything, and does not stink. It will not absorb BO. And
as a guy who hangs out with guys doing this stuff, that sounds great.
Yeah, that literally is, especially if we're traveling, it's like sometimes you don't have access to facilities, and you're trying to wash stuff in a sink. I have merino wool t-shirts that I wear when I go on a trip with my wife in the summertime. They're that light. They're just a t-shirt. So
that sounds nice.
I've got those. This one, these are merino wool. These are from Smart Wool. These are pants. So
okay,
these are the base layer.
These. I'm just teasing you.
No, these were boxers.
Those are pretty comfortable hiking in, or do you only wear them when you're standing still? Do you hike in a long john like this?
It depends on the weight and it depends on the temperature. Okay. This one is a synthetic, so this is the Marmot synthetic one.
This one looks lighter and looks like it'd be easier because Kurt Kais and I both like wearing an Under Armour long pant, even in the summer when we're hiking, because it's just more comfortable, and without having to wear long pants, I can keep myself from scratches and I can keep myself breathing nice and comfortably underneath those shorts.
And you can do some different things, like look at this pair.
Those are fancy.
so this pair is one that I've got base
extra
layer.
Fashion.
And this one is made out of spandex and nylon and polyester.
What's with the designs when it deals with spandex? Why does it have to be all funny Mexican wrestler now just because it's spandex?
What this is for is this is actually has some built-in knee support, and these are tight.
Really?
They're not that comfortable to wear, but if you go skiing and you're exercising hardcore in these, I use these for skiing.
Kind of a compression sock?
Yeah, that's kind of what it is you can see where your patella sits here, and this actually gives you some support. And then this one, so this is another
utility,
one.
not style.
That is kind of the same thing. I think I've got the...
Is this your matching spandex top?
Well, stretch that thing.
Stretch it. Oh my gads. So it doesn't matter how much weight you gain, you can cover your moves with this.
Right. That'll do that, but I mean, this one is, so sometimes I'll wear, this is a climate dry, and this one is...
When you say climate dry, what are we knowing from that
information? A climate dry is a blend of, I mean, you can see like even the pits are like really have the super meshy, breathable. This, if I'm going to go and hardcore ski all day, or if I'm going to go do cross-country skiing or tele skiing, where you're just going to pour sweat, what I'll do is I'll wear this one, and then on the other side of this, then I'll wear the merino wool. And this, the Climate Dry pulls that water off of you, and then it feeds it into the merino wool.
Oh, I see.
Now, the wool will not dry as fast as this will by any means.
Gotcha, yeah. So, very synthetic, this guy.
But I mean, there are pros and cons of each. I personally, as I'm getting older and I'm standing around a lot, taking pictures, I like the merino wool better. Now,
I've seen you in these shirts a lot, I swear.
Yeah, I like them. I mean, you can get to the point where we start getting into to your next layer of base layer where this is a light fleece.
Because you've had your merino wool or your synthetic that is your wicking, very on your skin layer versus the layer of insulation.
This is more insulation. So there's one that's kind of a light to mid-weight. This one is from Mountain Hardwear. And that one, I mean, this is warm, it's nice. I've got, how about this?
Oh.
So that one is
it's got a
freaking crazy warm
for sliding around.
Well, I mean, a lot of times, like this one's almost for mountaineering, where you're wearing this one. I mean, this is made in Telluride. You know, this is
Telluride.
Yeah, these are freaking crazy warm. These are good for ice climbing or whatever, and you can get in and out. You can breathe that way, but these are thick. So there's those ones, and then you get up into, like, these are a couple of base layers that are, like, that one is synthetic, that one's made by Cool. This one is one that's from Eddie Bauer, and this one is kind of your next level up of fleece. And then if you're gonna go crazy with layering, so now you've got, see, usually what I'll do is I won't wear that Acclimate Dry unless I know I'm gonna be exercising, but I'll wear the merino wool base layer, then I wear one of these over the top.
So directly that over a merino wool layer. So that over a merino wool, so 2 layers so far.
Right, and then I'll wear one of, actually.
So you can see this fleece. It's just like what you'd expect for a fleece, as these other ones were.
This one is
thinner.
a little stretchier, but it's fleece too. You know, it's a little lighter. So it kind of depends on what you're doing.
What's this you're unstuffing?
Well, this one, and I'll tell you, when I travel, I wear one of these. You know, I always carry one of these, and I've got a couple of different ones of these. I've got one of the. This one is a Ghost Whisperer from Mountain Hardwear.
Dude, that's intense.
And it's so lightweight, but then I have another one that's an 800 fill one that is from Eddie Bauer. That is that is down.
That is down on the inside of this guy.
Yeah, and so you wear the. So what I'll do is I'll wear my merino wool, then I'll wear one of these, then I'll put that on top, and then I'll wear a shell on top of that. We'll cover shells, hard shells, and soft shells.
So this doesn't even become your shell. This is just another insulation layer.
It is. I mean, they call these a down sweater a lot of times, is what that is. Okay, and I've got 2 of them. One of them is a little lighter than the other. But in the summertime, when I'm, like, when we went to Scotland and Ireland or whatever, I take that, and I take a, and I don't know if I brought it in this one or if it's sitting out in the car. But I've got a helium 2, I don't know if it's over there. Huh.
Did you stuff this all into one of its pockets?
Yeah, it stuffs right into its pocket, so it gets really small.
All right, I'm gonna stuff this in.
So I've got a helium 2 that is, I mean, it has one pocket in that jacket. It's all taped seams. It is absolutely waterproof, and it's so light. It packs down, it's literally the size of a softball.
Literally the size of a softball once it's packed down.
So I'll take this and that, and then no matter what the weather is, I'm covered. I'm good in the summertime with one of these. I think you got the wrong pocket, but that's all right.
Oh, the wrong pocket, but it's still stuffed into it pretty well.
Yeah, well, the pockets are the same size, but one of them has a reversible zipper. So
if I did zip that up, right, that's how it would go, and that's pretty small. When you think about that in your bags, that's amazing, and there's no weight at all.
Right, it probably weighs 10 ounces, something like that.
Just nothing.
And so the other one is even smaller. It's like probably a third that size. But so you wear this, and then I wear the other, like the one that's waterproof with a hood on top of that in the summertime. Like if I went to the Faroes in the summertime with you, that's what I would take. I'd take this and the helium 2 jacket, and that's it. And that takes care of everything. This is the warmth. That's the waterproof.
Okay.
And so I can stuff. I mean, 90% of the time that I'm out, this is in my camera bag, and the other one is in my camera bag, and that takes care of everything.
This has got to be a link on down below because I got to look into this.
Yeah, they're great.
Just in my bag, taking it with me would have been so amazing compared to what I always bring.
And see, my other one is is just a little bit bigger. When I stuff it, it's probably this big, and just a little bit bigger.
That's
but
no
it's
disappointment.
But it's 800 fill instead of this one is probably a 600 fill.
So you extra insulation.
Really a lot warmer than this one is. So this one's great and super lightweight and great for the summer. But the other one I'll wear underneath something else, and it depends on like whether I wear a hard shell or a soft shell. I've got, and we'll cover those in the future. But I've got one I've got one shell that is from Mountain Hardwear that has a hard shell on the shoulders, and then it's soft under here, so it lets, like if you're doing a lot of exercising or hiking, then it will let the vapor come out. And
needed.
Or you get the one that's just a hard shell that is just waterproof, and that's it. I mean, that's really all you're looking at. They don't provide the insulation. The insulation is from fleece or a down sweater that you wear underneath. So then you get to the next step, and when we cover coats, I'll bring all the different coats. And the next step, I mean, that parka is about 8 inches. I went up last January. We do here in Pleasant Grove, Utah. We have a guy who has put together a foundation, and we fly this American flag.
The big old flag.
It is a 1/4 acre of cloth. It's the largest free-flying flag, so we fly it during the 4th of July, and it is huge. But when the Olympics started last year, we decided that we would take it up to the top of Sundance Ski Resort, and we spread it out on the top of the ski run up there. And then, so I took the drones up and flew around. I was going, my brother's complaining and whining about how cold it is before the sun comes up there. I'm gonna dress warm, so I took that Mountain Hardwear parka that's designed for climbing K2 or Everest or whatever.
Whoa. And
I was cooking. It was 22 degrees, and I had the thing unbuttoned, and I was walking. I mean, it was so hot. So most of the time, you're never going to need anything like that. Realistically, I'm going to take it because I don't want my wife to have a bad experience while she's
to be warm
out.
and happy.
If it's cold,
In
we're going to be
Yellowstone.
warm, and stuff in Yellowstone, we're going to have a good time. Because if you get cold, you're not going to be happy. And the reason you wear layers, and the thing you have to learn is when to take them off and when to put them back on. Because if you're wearing too many layers and you're exercising, then you sweat in them, and then when you stop exercising, then the sweat gets cold.
You're
and
cold,
miserable.
You're wet, yeah.
And so the trick is, the reason that we're wearing layers is so that we can take less insulation off, that we can take the insulation off our bodies, and then we can put it back on when we need them. And so that's one thing. A lot of guys I know that go hiking or snowshoeing in the winter, they don't even wear backpacks because of that. They wear one that has a harness and that has a rib pack, and so they have something that comes around like this. It almost looks like a fanny pack that's suspended from your shoulders.
Interesting.
But the reason that they don't is because they don't want their back sealed up against the backpack, because you always get wet on your back.
Your heat is coming out of there. Oh yeah.
Yep. And so they don't do that. So in the future, next couple of weeks, we'll cover parkas and coats and shells, and we'll do hats and socks. So,
know that we're going to need it for the winter season. Brendon, you're out there right now, right in the chat, any questions that have come through that we may have missed that we can answer, while I tell you guys that next week for Gear Time Live, it will not be live. It will release at 1 o'clock on Thursday, and it will be a Gear Time that these two, Brendon and him, I already lost that video. That's fantastic.
I'll just keep chatting away here while we reset the camera.
I guess recording stopped working, and so then it said it's no longer going to do it. Blue screen, it said, hey, turn off.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but the reason that your camera only has a 30-minute limit on how long it can shoot
looking through the viewfinder of the video,
that's purely a fabricated limitation that they put in there.
Oh, of course.
For
That's what
tariffs.
I thought.
It's tariffs.
Tariffs?
Because they charge a different tariff on a video camera that comes into the States than they do
since this
on
is a
one that's a still
photography camera. They had to do that.
Right,
in order
it's
to change.
different.
That's ridiculous.
If you have anything that's before the Sony A7 Mark III, anything up to there's a hack that you can download and you can remove the 30-minute limit.
Okay,
So
I
just
gotta
so you know.
do that on this if I can find Magic Lantern
I
to do it.
wonder if
Maybe
it will
Magic
do it.
Lantern would do
I
it.
don't know.
So guys, I was saying next week's Gear Time will not be live. It'll be a pre-recorded video with Brendon and Drew, and they were in here and did a discussion on a really cool window, up against a window lens cover. And
that's
then
one
you
of the
guys
things we
also
did.
talked about Whip It Good, Wipe It Good. Oh, it was cleaning sensors. It was cleaning a
Is
camera
it?
sensor.
I thought we did that one live.
I don't think so. I think that was the one you did because this video begins with them celebrating Devo. And so that was the whole Wipe It Good episode.
Okay, if that's the one we got in the can, then that's the one we got in the can.
So next Thursday, you guys can watch it. There will be no one most likely on the other end chatting with you except other people watching it. I'm going to set it up as a premiere so that it loads itself and you guys can see it coming and you can have a chat on during it, and it'll be kind of fun for that. So did any questions come through, Brendon, while we were sitting here fixing the blue screen? Looks like nothing has been written by Brendon or by anyone else. So we'll go ahead and say goodbye for today. Thanks for watching Gear Time Live with Drew Armstrong and Brendon Porter. I'm Aaron King, standing in as the guy who's always in the background and enjoying it. So
Great.
thanks for all your stuff.
Have a good day. We'll see you out in Oregon.
See you guys.